All right, good afternoon. It looks like we have most people back, and so we'd like to welcome you for this final session of the West Virginia Collegiate Recovery Conference. I'm Carolyn with the Higher Education Policy Commission, and I'll be your host for this session. I want to just go over a few housekeeping items you probably know by now, but if you'd like to sign in for continuing education, there's a link in the chat box. Also, if you've been with us all day, at the end of this session, go ahead and complete the evaluation form, and that's what is needed for you to get your certificate. That link will also be in your chat box. This session is Digital Support for Recovery, and I'm very pleased to introduce our speakers for this session. We have Rob Shearon and Bridget Crunmley. Rob is the program manager for the Collegiate Recovery Center at the University of Colorado and creator of the Reconnected app. And Bridget Crunmley is the customer success team manager at Chess Health. Many of you have probably heard the quote from Johann Hari, "The opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection." It's such a crucial message of hope, and I think it really helps sum up a lot of what we've discussed throughout the day today. So this brief session is designed to acquaint you with two very powerful apps that are focused on connection. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Rob.
Well, thank you for the introduction. And I love that quote. We use that here at University of Colorado, like all the time when I'm talking to a new student or someone interested about recovery. Is the opposite of addiction is connection. And so I love that TED Talk that you just referenced. It always gets me stoked. But yeah, like you said, my name's Rob, and I work at the University of Colorado in Boulder. And today I just want to let you know about this app that we've been working on for the past couple of years that recently came out this fall. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see. But the app is called Reconnected. Great intro, like Recovery Connection Education is what it stands for. And it's focused on collegiate recovery. And I guess a little bit about like how it came about was I myself was a student in recovery, and I graduated from the University of Colorado in their recovery program. And then I left and it ended up moving to New York, and I felt, I don't know, that the transition was just really tough for me. And for quite a while, I thought I was the only one that felt that way, until I started talking to a lot of my other friends that graduated from the program or other college programs. And we found that like collegiate recovery communities like did such a great job. They created their own problem in a sense of like creating so much connection and community that when someone left, they felt this real big sense of disconnection. So the concept for this app came about of how great it would be to help people get connected after they leave these communities. And since then, it's transformed a lot to not just focus on alumni of these programs, but still students within, because there's a lot of schools out there that have pretty small programs. I know I work at one of the larger programs in the country, and yet it's still all the time and really normal, especially in this age of COVID, that people are feeling like isolated and alone, and like extremely unique for being in recovery at such a young age. And the point of this app is to help people realize they're not alone and they're actually part of something bigger. And there's likely someone that too is sitting in their room, looking at the ceiling, scrolling on some sort of social media, wishing they had friends to hang out with in that moment. And so this really pinpoints that problem. And I'll talk a little bit about how it does that. And so I should have skipped to this slide. This is just a little info about exactly what I just said. But through this platform or the app, there's like 3 big pieces. There's like a location piece that shows where students or alumni are located. Not exactly their location, but just like the general zip code that they're located in if they choose to share that. So if you're traveling, and especially on campuses this year that are shutting down after the fall break and won't be rejoining until spring semester, I think this is going to be huge as students start to go back to face the 3 holidays with their families away from their recovery communities. So they'll be able to connect with one another. And this goes to if people are moving across the country after graduating from these programs. So to help them discover new friends or connections. And then the next piece is this events and news. It's like similar to what you would think of like maybe your LinkedIn or Facebook news feed shows different events going on in your area that are recovery related. Given the circumstance of COVID, like national events and like being on Zoom all the time. So a lot of these programs can kind of like cut the lid. I'm grateful for this app because I don't have to come up with all these really cool ideas. If I find out Penn State has a cool game night going on and they just want to throw the link for Zoom up in here, like my students can now participate and not just be interacting with one another, but creating these new connections across the country. And then there's also jobs and internships that can be uploaded to this. I know that's a big part of what I hear our students and alumni kind of struggling with is getting settled. Like we know stress is like a huge trigger in a sense for reoccurrence of use, and a lot of stress comes from like the desire for internships or jobs after graduation. So we're hoping that like through this platform, people are able to post like jobs that they're looking for, and like alumni or other recovery allies or people in recovery can post jobs that are available at different organizations they're involved with. And then the last piece is like on this is like a profile. People can choose to share as much or as little information about themselves as they desire. And I think like that's really all I have today for like in terms of what the app is and how it works. But you can find out more at the website, and we have our contact information there. It's available right now in the app stores, both in the Android as well as the Apple store. And yeah, so if you know anyone that works at a college that would or is currently a student in college, like since this released almost a month ago, we've had 6 different students that don't have programs at their university, like somehow find out about this and reach out and just like are so excited that they didn't know collegiate recovery was even a thing. They really believe that they were the only person sober on their campus. And like, to me, it's already a success. If we had to close shop tomorrow and it just like went away, it's like those 6 students like know they're part of something much larger, and they're not alone. And so it's really cool that that's just like the beginning of where we're at. So that's really all I have. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat, and I'll post my contact info as well. So thanks, Carolyn.
Thank you so much, Rob. That was really, really great to see, and a really interesting story of how it came to be and came about. So we appreciate greatly. Any questions that you all have for Rob, go ahead and put those in the Q&A box. And when our next speaker is finished, we'll do some Q&A time. Before we hear from Bridget, I would like to introduce Heather McDaniel. She's the Treatment and Recovery Program Manager for the Office of Drug Control Policy, and she's going to share just a little bit about West Virginia's support for the next app. And then we will hear from Bridget, who's with Chess Health, about this app that is being used by providers and individuals in recovery across West Virginia. So over to you, Heather.
Thanks, Carolyn. So as Carolyn said, I am with the Office of Drug Control Policy here in West Virginia. And when COVID hit, we really felt like we needed to do something to help people with isolation. We know that when you're in recovery, you need to be connected to people and you need to be able to get out and meet with people, and everybody being isolated at home was a real concern for us. So we partnered with West Virginia University to offer the Connections app to everyone in the state of West Virginia for free. And so far what we're seeing is nothing but great results. There's been some amazing messaging going on in the app, so much support amongst different people. When people are reporting that they're struggling or they've had a relapse, the support that community has shown for them has just been nothing short of amazing. And I really think it's a great tool for everyone, even whenever COVID is finally over. I still think it will be a wonderful tool to help keep people connected. And give them just another group of people that they maybe don't even know in their real life, but it's someone else that they can lean on for support and help each other through. So we're super excited about it. We love this app and are super happy to be able to offer it to everyone. So I will let Bridget tell you guys more about the app.
Thanks, Heather. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Okay. As Heather mentioned, my name is Bridget Crunmley with Chess Health, and we've been working with West Virginia for several months now in working together to get connections into the hands of as many individuals in West Virginia as possible. I'd like to share first what e-recovery is all about. We know that addiction is an isolating disease, and throw a pandemic in the mix, and it's very difficult for people in early recovery or even later on in recovery to maintain those connections with others when they have to isolate in their home. And Connections was designed to connect others and make those connections, and for individuals to be able to do that really in the comfort of their own home if they'd like. We know that many individuals beginning recovery have a lot of mixed feelings about it. They may have anxiety about speaking with others and sharing about what's going on in their life. And by using Connections, it allows patients to begin interacting and communicating with other people in an environment that's comfortable to them. The Connections app offers group discussions, which our engagement team, made up of peer recovery specialists, really work hard to engage and build relationships and provide a supportive environment for all of the individuals in West Virginia, as well as all of our customers throughout the United States, to have that community where we know we can start building relationships and give each other positive support to continue the recovery. It's designed to help people to begin socializing again and learning what it is that what are individuals' interests now that they're working on their recovery. Not only can they message with our engagement team as well as other individuals in the app, but they can also participate in messaging with their care team. So this is a great way for our care team to really build a relationship with an individual. It takes a matter of seconds to write in a message saying, "You did great in group today," or "The feedback you gave to Mark in group was amazing." And that can really start to build a therapeutic relationship. And that can occur whether it's in a collegiate program or in a traditional treatment setting. We also offer e-therapy, so cognitive behavioral therapy, right within the Connections app for individuals. By taking a brief addiction monitor survey one time a week, individuals will begin to develop a recovery graph, and the app will automatically build that graph. And this allows an individual to look and see areas they're doing really well in with their recovery, as well as areas that they're struggling in and that maybe they need to work a little bit harder on or address with their care team. We also know that individuals in recovery face a lot of challenges with a lot of appointments that they need to attend, a lot of medications maybe that they need to be prescribed and take as prescribed in order for them to be effective. And it can be really difficult to manage all of these new things that come in the way of somebody in early recovery. So through our plan section, individuals can work with their care team or on their own to add in any appointment that they might need to go to. That appointment might be recovery based, or maybe it's a job interview, or maybe an event at their children's school that they want to make sure that they don't miss. Or a medication, it could be anything from an antibiotic or a medication that's really vital to their recovery that they want to make sure they're taking as prescribed. And by using the Connections app, they can enter this information to be sure they're getting reminded to do these important things to maintain their recovery. A lot of individuals in recovery like to keep track of their sobriety date and how many days that they've obtained. And this is a choice that they can do within the Connections app. As you can see here, we have an example of a sobriety streak of 112 days. This can easily be turned on or off for individuals so that they can keep track of their sobriety. Support meeting locator is great. That can be found in the Discover section of our app. And what that does, it allows an individual, as long as their location and GPS settings are on, if they push the support locator, it will give them a whole list of businesses in the area that can help them right then with whatever it is they're struggling for. We also have built in an AA and NA support meeting locator. So an individual can simply put in their zip code and up will come a whole list of self-help meetings that they can attend. Also in the Discover section is full of content. Rob mentioned TED Talks earlier. We have numerous TED Talks in Discover, as well as YouTube videos. We have content to help individuals relax and, maybe deal with anger or anxiety. And coming soon in November, we will have the ability to do telehealth and video meetings right through the Connections app. One of the biggest pieces of the Connections app and where we're building the connections is through the messaging feature. So we want to offer peer engagement to help individuals reduce their isolation and get the support that they need. You can see here that right now, especially in West Virginia, the discussion groups are moderated by the CHESS engagement team. As I mentioned earlier, our engagement team is made up of individuals in recovery who are now peer recovery specialists. And we found this really helps to relate to other individuals on the app, and it gives the communication that's happening is really genuine and supportive, and at times a lot of fun also. One thing I would like to add is that patients have the ability to create an alias when communicating through the Connections app. This helps, again, to take away that anxiety they may have about beginning to interact and participate in socializing with other people. Sometimes by doing it by, an alias can really help to reduce that, and it allows the individual to feel more free when communicating. The engagement team also has the benefit of monitoring all of the discussions that are taking place and really kind of seeing what topics we can add in and what supports we can share with those by offering web links to online events for individuals to attend. Individuals can also participate in one-on-one messaging with others in the app. It doesn't always have to be with our care team or with our engagement team or with a care team or folks in the Collegiate Recovery Program. I wanted to share a few examples of the messages that we're seeing, and these are all from, I would say, the past 5 days. And these are just individuals who are using Connections in West Virginia. And one writes, "You are so right. We are not alone with this, so let's fight together. I feel less isolated with every post on this app." And I'm not going to read all of these, as you can read them on the screen, but I do want to share that there are also individuals who read the messages for quite a while and get support without posting. And then as they see the environment continuing to talk and relationships building, we often see a lot more people jumping in after they've kind of just been reading the messages for a while. One of my favorite quotes that I've read this week is the one on the bottom. I see myself as a totally different person and I love who I am now. So I think that's definitely a win for this individual, that right now they're getting the support that they need to make those really difficult changes in their life. I wanted to share my contact information, so if anybody has any questions, please reach out. My email is on there, as well as my cell phone number, and you can feel free to reach out and ask any questions.
Thank you so much, Bridget. And thanks again to Rob also for sharing about both of these excellent app resources. We do have a few questions that have come in over the Q&A chat, and so we will ask those. And if anyone has any further questions, just go ahead and keep chatting those in. But I did want to bring up a question that came in about the Connections app, and that is, somebody said that they've heard that there was a feature where people can get a notification or a ding if they're in a high drug area or if they're in a high risk area. Can you talk a little bit about how that works?
Sure, that's a great question. When individuals onboard the app, they have the opportunity to enter a high risk location. And this can be done during onboarding as well as any other time that they're using the app. And what it does is it allows the individual to put in an address where they feel, you know, if I go there, my chances of relapsing increase. So once an address is entered into the app, your phone will kind of alert you and say you're about to enter a high risk location when you get within 100 yards of that location. Not only does it alert you that you're about to enter a high risk location, but it gives you options to reach out for support to your care team, to individuals within the app, or those personal contacts in your life who know about your addiction and how hard that individual is working in recovery. It's also important to know high risk locations are private to the individual on the app. Their care team will receive notification that one of their individuals has entered a high risk location. That's only so that support can be provided. That location is never shared with the team at CHESS or the care team.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for that great question, and thanks for your response. There was another question that came through also about this app, wondering who provides the access for it. And so we're going to put the link where people can go to Help and Hope West Virginia in the chat box so that people can follow directly to find out more about this program. Is there anything else you want to say about access, Bridget?
If anybody has any questions with the website or how to gain access, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to direct you. But again, it can be for individuals, for college students, as well as others in recovery or in a treatment program in West Virginia.
All right, great. I also wanted to share something that came in through the chat. Somebody said that these apps are the best tool I've seen in a long time. And they also mentioned that mindfulness apps can also be really helpful. So that's just another tool to be adding to the toolbox. I know that's a theme we've talked about some throughout the day, is the more tools you can have in your recovery toolbox and to be sharing with students, the better. So these are just two more great tools, and mindfulness apps are one more. As you all are, we have just a couple minutes left, and so as you all are sending in any further questions that you may have, I did want to just take a minute to thank Susie Mullins for her amazing work putting this day together. She really headed up the organization for the day and spearheaded the effort to make this a possibility. So I'd like to just say a great big thanks to Susie for all of her hard work and for really bringing other people's opinions and perspectives and expertise to the forefront. It's really been a great day, and we appreciate you greatly for that, Susie. So I'm taking just one more look here at the Q&A box, and it doesn't look like we have any further questions that have come in. So I'd like to just thank Rob again and Bridget and Heather for being with us on this panel. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Susie for some closing comments and our prize drawing.
Great. Well, thank you, Carolyn. And it was a group effort. We had a great planning team. We had a lot of partnership with the West Virginia DHHR Office of Drug Control Policy and the Bureau for Behavioral Health, of course, the West Virginia Higher Ed Policy Commission. I don't know if you can hear that terrible sawing noise, but I hope it's not coming through too loud to drown out this last section. So we really appreciate all the presenters who spent their time today with us, everyone who attended to learn more about collegiate recovery across West Virginia and what we really hope to do. I've got one last thing to share here. Give me just a moment to pull up the closing slides, and then we'll do the drawing. So I shared this earlier this morning with our president group and senior administrators, but this is the vision, mission, and values for our West Virginia Collegiate Recovery Network. And we are going to post the videos and the PowerPoint slides on our website, which is marshall.edu/CRN. We also have a Facebook page, so please follow us there. Some calls to action. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about is, what's next? It's great to have this conference and everybody here, and we have this interest and energy. So what do we do with it? So I wanted to leave some options for folks in terms of a call to action. So the first one is to join ARHE and West Virginia Collegiate Recovery Network. Although we're not a membership organization, we want to build a network across the state. Save the date for April 15th, 2021 for Collegiate Recovery Day. We hosted an event this past year, which was virtual. Hopefully by April 15th, 2021, we might be able to be together in person again. We can certainly hope for that. So save that date. We're going to do some other things between now and then. And if there are any topics that you're particularly interested in or would like to get more in depth, please put those in the chat box or send me an email, and we will develop some technical assistance, reach out to some of our experts and colleagues around the country to help bring you that information. I think the most important thing is to reach out to students. Find the students on your campus who are in recovery and see what they would like to have happen, what type of support that can get started on campus. A lot of collegiate recovery programs started with no funding, no space, very little investment. And so it's certainly easier to do when you have some backing, but it's possible to do without that. So reaching out to students. Launch an anti-stigma campaign. Hopefully you heard some talk today about the ally training that a lot of our peer support specialists do. We are glad to provide anti-stigma resources. If you're not aware of the West Virginia website, the Stigma-Free WV, there are a lot of resources there. If you would like for us to do a recovery ally training for your students, faculty, staff, community groups, please just reach out to us. Very, very important, especially right now, as we've seen additional overdoses and increase in overdoses, is to make naloxone available on campus. We have a wonderful resource in Dr. Lindsay Akery with getting access to naloxone. Mike Holmes, one of our recovery peer support specialists at Bluefield State, hosts an online naloxone training on Thursdays at 2 and 7 p.m. That information is also on our website. If you're in the 3 counties in his area of Wyoming, Mercer, and McDowell, he can mail you the naloxone. If you're outside of those counties, we can work with local resources to help you find out where you can get naloxone. Identify students early through something called Screen U. It's available, it's a subscription service available to higher education through the Higher Ed Center for Alcohol and Other Drug Use, HECAOD. And 10 schools in West Virginia have access to this tool, and it's really screening for alcohol, marijuana, and prescription drugs. There are 3 separate screening tools. And, you know, we've heard about students getting into collegiate recovery, getting into recovery simply as a result of having taken one of those screening tools and realizing, hey, this is my relationship with the substance is not normal, is not healthy. And, you know, the person chose to enter recovery and change her life. Provide language training for communication staff and really for all staff. We want to use recovery-friendly language. Dr. John Kelly has a great resource on his website. It's called the Addictionary, and it goes through all sorts of different language and terms and, you know, why it's problematic, what's a better option. So he is going to be doing a presentation for us in November at our Small Communities Big Solutions Conference, which is a project of the Alliance for the Economic Development of Southern West Virginia. And I'll give you that information in just a moment. Identify barriers to admission. What are some problems that students face trying to get into higher education? And then identify opportunities to offer early intervention and referral to treatment. Some folks might know that referred to as SBIRT. So if you want more information on any of these topics, please reach out to us. We'll be glad to connect you to these resources. In closing, we want to remind you to do the sign in for each session, complete the evaluation. We're going to do the door prize here in just a minute. Again, thank you to our partners who helped organize and pull this conference off. And this is the information about the Small Communities Big Solutions Conference. And we have a student leadership conference, which is the Friday, November 20th. And we have some scholarships to cover registration for college students. So this is open to high school and college students. We would love to have you participate. And here's my contact information. So what I would like to have folks do is, if you are interested in one of the door prizes, enter your name and email in the chat box now. We have a Shell gas card, $25, an Amazon card, $25, and 6 wonderful fleece jackets donated by the Association for Recovery and Higher Education. They are really scrumptious for our upcoming fall and winter season. There's a question here. Will the chat links be in any follow-up information to us? Yes, we will try to provide all of that information. It might be week after next, so give us a little bit of time. I'm actually going on vacation after Friday, so we'll try to get that information up. And once we have the recordings, we will get those put up on our website along with the presentations. So I've asked Allison for some help with the drawings for the door prizes. So Allison, do we have number 4?
Yes, number 4 is Samantha Page.
Samantha Page, you are a winner of a fleece jacket. Okay, how about number 6?
Kenneth Matthews.
Pardon me?
Kenneth Matthews.
Awesome. All right, Ken, you are the winner of an Amazon gift card. Number 7.
Elizabeth Dowdy.
Elizabeth, you are the winner of a fleece jacket. Number 18.
Jamie Cantley.
Jamie, you are the winner of a fleece jacket. Number 21.
Kurt Klettner.
Kurt, you are the winner of a gas card. And last but not least, number 22.
Joanne McNeamer.
Joanne, you are the winner of a fleece jacket. You're going to love it. All right, we will be in touch with the door prize winners and get your mailing information so that we can get your door prizes to you. Again, it might be week after next until we get those things out the door. So again, we are very thankful for everyone's participation and attendance, and have a great evening.
Thank you all. Be sure to sign in if you didn't get a chance to sign in for this session, and complete the survey. At the end of the event, you'll be able to go in and complete the survey. Make sure you select all the sessions that you did attend for the day, and that link is in your chat. Susie, you may leave that up for just a few more moments.
Yes, please. We've got, looks like 34 people still here, so we'll give folks a chance to get that. Oh, let's see, we've got a hand raised here. Daniel Mosser. I don't know if you're still on, but if you have a question, you can put it in the chat.
Susie, there was also a question if the links will be provided that were in the chat.
Yes. Yep, we'll try to get all those pulled together and sent out.
Great job, Susie.
Thanks, Carolyn. Thank you for all your help.
Have a great vacation if I don't talk to you before then.
Yes, I'm planning on it. I still have us scheduled for Thursday at 12:30. I didn't know if our planning committee might want to get together and debrief and take a look at the evaluations, and then maybe talk about picking some dates to do some follow-up.
Sounds good to me. While it's fresh in our minds.
Right. Rob, you stay safe out there. If you need to escape, if you need to escape and come back east, I could probably arrange something for you either in Western North Carolina or Charleston, West Virginia. You got your choice.
All right, all right. Where in Western North Carolina?
Outside of Asheville, between Asheville and South Carolina border.
Cool. My mom just went out to Boone today to visit my little sister who lives out there.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool over there. I love those mountains.
Yeah. Not quite Boulder, but pretty nice in its own right.
All right, a little more lush.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, well, I'm gonna hop off, but thank you so much. This was cool. I was really grateful to be able to learn more about like Connections app. I guess I forgot to ask my question I had is, is that just for people in West Virginia right now? Do you know by chance?
They can contract with various stakeholders, so it's at a cost.
Okay.
It was originally called HEPC, and it was developed by the University of Wisconsin. That's where the research was developed. We were fortunate to be part of that research group back in 2000, I believe it's 2013 to 2015. We were able, through a grant, to offer that in West Virginia, and we worked with about 14 organizations across the state. We had about 300 users of the app across the state. Through our grant, we were able to provide smartphones and phone service. So it was really, that was my first kind of foray into technology-assisted care. I'd been working with some college students at Davis and Elkins. After having worked with little kids for a long time, I went to the college population, and I had a flip phone. And they'd come into the counseling center and say, "Hey, can you text me a reminder?" And I'm like, "I'm not pushing 3 buttons for 1 letter for anybody. I don't even text my husband." Okay, so that's not happening. And then it was this whole realization of digital natives, and as a clinician, how you interpret people bringing technology into your counseling session, because old school folks like us were like, "Man, that is the rudest thing I have ever seen. What is wrong with these kids?" And so then there's a researcher at MIT named Dr. Sherry Turkle, and she wrote a book called Alone Together, and she went kind of back through the history. And when you look at when all of this kind of hyper-connectedness started, it was after 9/11. And people were in such a panic when 9/11 happened, and a lot of people didn't have cell phones. And so after that, the anxiety of not being able to reach your loved ones was just through the roof. And so that really started to change people's relationship with technology. And she talked about, the generation that grew up with Furbies, and, generation that has never known the world without Facebook, generation that's never known the world without the internet itself. And so it was really enlightening to think about, the digital natives as a culture, and how as clinicians. And so I did a lot of work, a lot of trainings around ethics, and looking at, technology, the technology generations being a cultural issue, and that as clinicians, we needed to be culturally sensitive to, the world that they've grown up in. Very different from, those of us that are digital transplants, or sometimes digital refugees, but the digital native generation being something very different. So that was kind of how I got into it. And then I applied for this job with this company called First Choice, and we got this technology assisted care grant from SAMHSA, and I went to a conference and learned about the HS app, and then everything changed from there. And so we did HS for a couple of years, and then we transitioned into telehealth and helped develop a platform for telehealth. So COVID has done a lot for telehealth, and I was, very pleased to see, through really being forced to, so many people finally opened their eyes and were willing to, do something different as far as delivering services by telehealth. So, it was scary for a lot of people, and certainly not the most preferred method for a lot of people, but it's very viable. And when we look at rural options and having no access to care, this is better than no access to care.
Right.
So, but the HS folk, or the connections folks, so they privatized, created this other company. And so now, you can pay to be in a contract type situation. So the state of West Virginia has been working with them, and, making it available free to our residents and to
Cool.
providers. Yeah, it's very
Whoa,
cool.
that's really cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I love like the mass adoption idea. Yeah, we'll take this thing that helps and give it to everyone or anyone that'll use it.
Exactly.
Exciting.
Well, you stay safe. Take care. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. I'll see you soon, I hope.
Okay.
All right. Bye.